this material about Trump is brand new, and I think despite its timing, which it was dumped into the public domain on one of the slowest news days of the year when most people are traveling prior to Christmas and Christmas Eve, I don't think that's going to help Trump at all. I think this is going to be a very, very significant political firestorm for him.
The US Department of Justice, they've released the largest batch to date of files related to Jeffrey Epstein. Among the documents is an email exchange showing that Ghislaine Maxwell sought to procure intelligent, pretty and fun women from good families for a friend that she referred to as Andrew. The messages show Maxwell planning a trip to Peru for a friend known as the Invisible Man in 2002. The Invisible Man, by the way, is not identified. But Andrew Mountbatten Windsor conducted a 6-day official visit to Peru in March 2002 to mark the 50th year of his mother's reign. There's no implication that any illegal activity took place on the trip. Elsewhere in the files, Donald Trump has made an appearance as the president is listed as a passenger on at least 8 flights, including one flight with a 20-year-old woman, presumably flights to Epstein's residence, more times than previously been reported. Last night, Trump gave his response to reporters when asked about the files.
The Democrats, mostly Democrats, and a couple of bad Republicans are asking for, so they're giving their photos of me too. Everybody was friendly with this guy, either friendly or not friendly, but they, he was around. He was all over Palm Beach and other places. The head of Harvard was his best friend, Larry Summers, and Bill Clinton was a friend of his, but everybody was.
That was Donald Trump there. Well, Glenn Thrush is justice reporter for the New York Times and joins us now. Let's focus on Andrew Mountbatten Windsor first, if we can. How damaging could these particular documents be? What are we piecing together on it?
Well, again, it's hard to sort of discern because there's a bit of misdirection, and a lot of what we are told in these investigative materials is sort of piecemeal and sketchy. But, from the very start of this, when the Epstein files were released, when the pressure for the Epstein files to be released started over the summer, we'd been told by sources at the Justice Department that Prince Andrew, among very few people,
former Prince Andrew, we should say.
Oh, I'm sorry, former Prince Andrew was implicated in more than almost any of the other celebrities. Not surprisingly, that has taken a very distant backseat to some of the new revelations about President Trump. And I should just tell you, the timing of this, part of this was these files, the release of these files were necessitated by action taken by the U.S. Congress a couple of weeks ago against President Trump's desire. And I think we're now starting to understand why. This revelation about Trump being on Epstein's private jet with Ghislaine Maxwell and a potential couple of witnesses and victims is brand new information and greatly expands the universe of questions about Trump's conduct. So while the Andrew stuff, I understand, is pretty important to you folks, I think a lot of what has been presumed about Andrew's behavior has been out there. This material about Trump is brand new, and I think despite its timing, which it was dumped into the public domain on one of the slowest news days of the year when most people are traveling prior to Christmas and Christmas Eve, I don't think that's going to help Trump at all. I think this is going to be a very, very significant political firestorm for him.
So on Trump, we've basically got that he's on at least 8 flights to Epstein's island, including one flight with a 20-year-old woman. There's Correct. Another letter where he's referred to as our president, isn't he? Our president shares our love of young nubile girls, it states. This is a letter sent to Larry Nassar.
Let me interrupt you.
Go on, yeah, please do.
There's a lot of stuff that's being dumped out here. It's one of the reasons why this doesn't normally happen, and a lot of people think it shouldn't have happened this time. The Nassar letter, we have been told, and the Justice Department's pushed back on that, is almost certainly fraudulent. So there are things in the investigative file that haven't been vetted. It's just being thrown into the public domain, and it looks, there's a number of reasons to believe that particular letter is to be disregarded. So I would just say that I would not be promoting that unless it is proven to be
okay.
Accurate. Yeah.
So you would disregard the letter that Epstein sent to Larry Nassar?
I wouldn't say disregard, but I would put that on the shelf until it's verified. Until it's verified. There's a lot of material in there that's not verified, but the the interesting stuff about Trump, and you played the quote from him where he said everybody was his friend, and he referred to Larry Summers, the former president of Harvard, being Epstein's best friend. That is not true. Donald Trump was closer to Jeffrey Epstein than any of these other individuals. He spent more personal time with him. There's reams of video. So while Trump is attempting to impute the same sorts of relationships among powerful people, including Bill Clinton, with Epstein, all the evidence, all the reporting, books have been written about this, indicate that Trump and Epstein had a closer relationship than Epstein had with other individuals.
Now, understandably, that is taking a lot of focus over there. Of course, we are interested on more allegations that could be connected to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor here, and we've got some detail that we've not had before about a trip to Peru, about a man who's referenced as Andrew. He's called the Invisible Man in Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's accomplice, in her contacts, and one of the email addresses related to the Invisible Man matches up with Epstein's contact book in terms of, well, it's referenced the Duke of York. Of course, that's a title that Andrew has since had formally removed. But there appears to be some arrangement here in Peru through an enabler, through a tour guide, and in it, Maxwell discusses in the emails arranging girls two-legged sightseeing for a man identified as the Invisible Man. Also, Balmoral summer camp is referenced by the Invisible Man. All these details, while we can't absolutely say for certain this is Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, there is a lot that leans into it that suggests...
And it coincides, and I think the biggest bit of connective evidence for making that assumption is the fact that his visit coincided with a March 2002, the 50th anniversary of Queen Elizabeth's reign, and trips that were taken to Peru. Yeah. So there's, I think, quite a high likelihood that this is what we're talking about.
Well, look, thank you so much for giving us an update on it. Are there more files to go through? Do you think we'll get any more on this, Glenn, as the evening goes on?
Absolutely. I mean, the thing that is very, very interesting is the Justice Department, who is obviously the leadership is selected by President Trump, did not initially comply with the deadline, but we're starting to see dribs and drabs. And frankly, given the timing of this dump today, I wouldn't put it past them to put out stuff on Christmas Eve.
Right. Got it. OK, well, we are all eyes. Glenn, thank you. Glenn Thrush, Justice reporter for the New York Times, with us. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.